Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Oh, you have to click OK
Yeah.
on your screen. Okay, did it?
Okay, Casey. Thank you.
Let her roll.
Yeah. Now, one of the things in my era of the Arnott family, one of the things we always did was sing together. So I always have like this urge to start singing at these moments when things are kind of lagging.
Oh,
So usually when you're singing together on Zoom, one person will lead, and if everybody else mutes themselves, you can sing along, and it's quite fun. But if you don't mute yourself, it's not good. No, no, no.
hard on your. What was one of your go-to songs?
Well, today I'm thinking about Auld Lang Syne. That's
Oh
all.
yeah.
So maybe we can start with that. Is there sound on your PowerPoint, Casey? No. Okay. I don't know. Does anyone know the words?
Did all the quick be forgot?
Yeah. All right. So we can't see the pictures of Casey if you look like you're sipping tea rather than putting up pictures. So I thought I'd let you know.
I oops, because I started screen sharing and then you told me to stop, so I stopped and
Then I
and
didn't tell you to
then
start.
I started it again,
Yeah.
but I didn't redo I didn't realize it stopped the screen share. I thought I was still sharing my screen the whole time. So thank you for saying something. I thought, wow, these guys are very irreverent.
Third time's a charm, Casey.
That's right. Okay. But
turn off your
go ahead and keep chatting. All right, screen share. Take it from the top.
leaving the headphones in.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Oh, these are famous.
Oh,
Somewhere on the tablet.
oh nice.
Look at that. Oh my
Click on
gosh.
that. Click on audio.
Oh. This was St. Hubert. That was a beautiful visit. Oh my. Oh, awesome.
yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Great.
Wow.
There she is.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you remember that? I missed that one.
Oh, God.
Is there a way to slow the slideshow down, or is it like on a like
Um,
a
it, I would have to go in and do that, but I could if you'd
it's
like.
okay. It's okay if it's
Oh my
Dad. It's
You
okay. I was just wondering. It's okay though.
Down.
you guys will all be able to have the slideshow if you want, and a PDF.
What a look.
I know. I thought everybody who knows her has probably seen that look, so I
Pretty
better
much.
include it.
Max. Oh. I've got that picture.
Oh, look at Marty. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, still painting.
Oh.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Good one.
Never did get those made.
No.
No.
Oh,
Aww.
beautiful.
That's saying, come on.
Yeah, I recognize Saya's hand.
Hang up the phone and call Annie on Messenger in the video, and then you can show me the screen that you.
That saith Art that we're wearing.
Oh,
That's Mom's birthday, 90th birthday. And this is after, oh, that's back.
Oh,
Cute.
love-
Goodbye.
oh, Lorraine, we do love you.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Casey. That was great.
But if you guys want, I can go in and jig it so that it's slower. I just didn't want to take a huge amount of time, but I wanted to
Yeah.
show lots of the pictures.
Yeah.
So you want me to do that, Guy? Okay.
And then we can do them at the end too,
Okay.
How's that? Okay.
All right. I'll do that.
So one thing I wanted to say hi and thanks to everybody for coming because it was pretty short notice. Okay, so it was pretty short notice, and that's initially I just wanted to talk to the family and let them know, what just happened, because I think even though everyone knew Mom was sick, had been sick for a long time, it still felt sudden, I think. So I just want to, I'll just speak briefly about what happened. But before I do that, I'm just going to say that we'll try and get together in person. She had wanted her ashes to be buried in Winnipeg in the plot where her grandparents are buried. So the siblings can have a keepsake urn, and I'll bring those to Winnipeg when we do that. And I don't know when that will happen yet. I'll have to figure that out. But anyone who's wants to try to be there, just email me and let me know. I'll make sure you get the dates once we figure it out. So the thing I wanted to say, and it's just that Mom had Alzheimer's for quite a while, and I wanted to say that when she first came to us, she came to live with John and me about when we were still living in Ottawa. Her plan was she was going to park her junk at our house, and and then she was going to be a gypsy and take her beautiful white Ford back and forth across, visiting her children and grandchildren, because there was not a quorum in any one place in the country. She couldn't just move to such a place and be able to be in touch with everyone. So her concept was, I'll just keep driving. I'll go stay there for a week and I'll do it that way. And that was her plan. And unfortunately, very, very soon after she came to live with us, she found a lump on her breast, and it was quite the fiasco trying to get her treatment. But the outcome was ultimately that it was a very aggressive cancer. They had to treat it quite aggressively. And the side effect of the treatments, we think, was a couple of major strokes. And that pretty much ended her driving. So she moved back to Winnipeg and then to Portage. And Casey will say more about this, I think, in the eulogy. But at a certain point, she started to feel, maybe about 8 years ago, that she didn't feel safe, like just being on her own. I don't know if any of you have been in that kind of a health condition where you just feel like you're not able to take care of yourself or really know what's going on. She came back to live with us again, and within a couple of years had that Alzheimer's diagnosis. So all of this was slow progressing, like she would lose a little bit of capacity, and not a problem to back her up on, doing this or doing that she would normally have done for herself. So as part of the household, she was able to kind of, I think bump along pretty good. But by the end, she was really only talking in emojis, I think, with most people on Messenger. And that whole Messenger thing, which I think everybody here really, except maybe Alistair, who wasn't in the know at that time, really took part in helping support her sense of connection to people through Facebook and Messenger. So what happened was, she just had a gradual decline, and until about 3 weeks ago, she started to get short of breath and dizzy. No, she's had no pain at any point along this road. I mean, except for, my back is sore, but you know darn well how that happened, and it's good in a day or two. But we took her in for a CT scan. She got a CT scan and heart and everything, and they had noticed a couple of new lumps on her lung, but they weren't, didn't seem to have. She didn't want to have more treatment. So she told the doctors, no, I don't want any more treatment. I don't want to have surgery and all this stuff. Just they put her onto a palliative care plan, which is a bit of a different thing. And so while we were waiting for the palliative care plan to come into effect, she woke up on Friday morning last week with an acute, like very severe pain in her gut, to the point where we had to call the EMTs, and they assessed her and took her into hospital. So we spent about 24 hours in the emergency ward, which was okay because she was getting very good drugs and didn't have any pain very soon after arrival. And by the next day, they admitted her, and by the next day, she had passed away by the evening. So it was really quick in the end. I know people might have felt they should have known what was happening, but honestly, I just had such a focus on the moment. I was just in that moment, each moment. So thus the immediate memorial thing. So Casey's going to do a little kind of remembrance of her, but I thought maybe Joanne could just say a prayer. Carol had sent a prayer that she thought would carry her sentiments into this today, into this gathering, and Jo said she would read it for her.
Mm-hmm. Sit with me.
We remember your kindness and wisdom. May your spirit find peace and joy. May we continue to honor your memory. May the memory of your kindness and wisdom bring peace to our hearts. May we remember the good you brought into the world. May you be reunited with those you love in a realm of peace and harmony. May you find joy in their presence. May your wishes come true.
That was lovely. Lovely.
Thanks, Carol, for that. It's very lovely.
Very lovely. Amen.
You're muted, Annie.
Casey, do you want to unmute? And
Oh, sure. Sorry, I thought there were a couple of other poems first. All right. This is not all going to be exactly right. It's from my memory. So if you've got more or better information, go ahead and throw it in afterwards. Okay. So Lorraine was born the eldest of her parents' 4 children in 1935. The Western world was moving to the brink of war, and this event deeply affected her. Her father was overseas for 5 years, and as a result of that, she and her sister Annette spent winters in a convent school in Winnipeg, while her mom took care of the younger kids at home. The fear of the grown-ups around her and their preoccupation with the war, plus the loss of an uncle and many others from the neighborhood, gave her a profound attachment to military history and added to her desire for fairness and social justice. When Lorraine was very young, she became ill for many months. She lost the ability to walk and do many of the things that she had already learned to do, and when she got better, she struggled to catch up again. She was an introverted child and adult with strong opinions and big streaks of silliness that came out more as she grew older. She loved her family very much, and as a child enjoyed her summer visits to her cousins and grandmother in Saskatchewan. When Lorraine was young, a neighbor taught her how to draw and paint, and another neighbor hired her to care for their horses. Both of these things brought her joy. She loved to read too, but she and her siblings only got one book to share each Christmas, so that when she was able to join a library as a young adult, she decided to read every book there, and she did. She even liked science fiction. She was way ahead of her time. Lorraine met John Arnott as a teen. His parents were deeply unhappy when he decided to marry a Catholic, but he converted anyway and they wed. Her original plan was to have 12 children, 6 of each, but she stopped at 8. In the mid 1960s, she and John made a plan to move to Windsor, Ontario with their good friends Phyllis and Bill Olson, who you saw fly by earlier. Lorraine came out to Vancouver first to visit her sister Annette and decided she'd rather live out here. So the plan changed. And though the Olsons carried on to Windsor, the Arnotts moved to the West Coast. John was the guitar player in the family, but Lorraine, who loved Scottish and French songs like the Sky Boat Song and Auprès de ma blonde, and amusing popular songs like I'm My Own Grandpa, taught herself ukulele on a long-necked, bright yellow instrument. She made a book of songs for us to sing from, and it got a lot of use. Somewhere in here, Lorraine encountered women's liberation, and it sounded good to her, so she joined up. She became an audiovisual technician in schools, and at some point she and John divorced. He moved back to his family in Portage la Prairie, Manitoba, with most of the kids. This was a difficult situation for everyone, and she did her best to see her kids as often as she could. She loved us all very much. Eventually, Lorraine moved to Windsor to be with her old friends, Phyllis and Bill, and with Annie, who had gone out there for school. I tagged along. Bill took her under his wing and hired her to do maintenance with him at the Maryvale Catholic Home for Young Women and Girls, where she worked for 13 years. She was always good at doing things with her hands and liked figuring things out, so this training was great for her and us. A few years later, Lorraine was persuaded to move back to Vancouver, where some of her kids were gathering. She would often live with or near one or more of her kids, who over time seemed to be the friends she most enjoyed having. At one point, she rented the downstairs apartment in a house that Annie and her partner were living in, and another time she rented a room downstairs from Saya and her partner. Vic was in the other downstairs suite, and I lived a few blocks away. It was around this time she told us to call her Big Lol instead of Mum. Although that didn't last forever. She was trying to embiggen herself. It was also here that Lorraine began adopting cats. First Tommy, a big tough stray. Her love of animals was a constant in her life. Later, when she moved to Richmond, BC, she eventually had 4 cats and fed the raccoons with great delight in defiance of the law. I believe this is when she began cleaning houses for a living. It was a way to be her own boss, and that was important to her. Lorraine explored the world around her in many ways. She took up hiking and camping and visiting historical sites, and when Carol moved to Australia, she happily visited her there. She also began working on our genealogy and put together photo albums for each of her kids and a family military history. When the opportunity came, she sponsored a section of a new cross-Canada trail in honor of her Uncle Max, who had died in the war. After her parents' house was sold and her mum was in care, Lorraine decided to retire early so that she could spend some of her inheritance on travel. I think she had her eye on a sleeper car on the train with the ultimate destination of Churchill. The plan was to then spend a few months each year in the various places her kids lived. She was able to follow this dream for a while and included some of her children and grandchildren in a few of those travels. But a stroke while she was living in Ottawa with Annie, John, and Robin meant that her health and ability to care for herself declined. She did live on her own after that for a few years in Winnipeg and Portage la Prairie with help from her children. but in time she moved back to Ontario to live with Annie and John, where she remained until her death. And we all owe an enormous debt of thanks to them. Lorraine's horizons seemed to be shrinking, but with great patience and repeated instructions, sometimes in the face of real grumpiness, Annie was able to teach Mum how to use an iPad, Facebook, Messenger, and YouTube. She was able to keep in touch with family and friends, explore the world, and continue to express her opinions, values, and humor for many more years. Ever a working woman, Lorraine proudly carried on doing her own laundry till just a couple of years ago, despite having to climb steep flights of stairs to do it. I am grateful that, whatever challenges faced her, Lorraine was able to enjoy a good life with people who loved her and who she loved, with books and videos and articles about things that interested her, and with her love of cookies and her sense of humor intact.
Thank you, Casey. So one of the last things that Mum said, because she had had a period of maybe 8 hours where she was trying still to communicate, but it was very difficult because she was really her life force was getting smaller and smaller, getting less and less over those last hours. But she managed to go get my attention in kind of this low moaning voice in the emergency, all these things going on around. And she held up her finger. She'd been going like this, and trying to get, the oximeter that measures your oxygen saturation. They stick it on you as soon as you get in the door. They track how much oxygen is getting into your blood. She'd been trying to get it off, and I was putting it back on, and she was taking it off, and I was putting it on, and then she would just fiddle with it. So finally she goes like this, and she said, take it. And I'm like, is it really bothering you, Mom? Because, we're supposed to leave it up. No, take it. And she looked at it and she said, hard it, make it hard. And I'm like, make it hard. Okay. No. Very frustrated because I wasn't getting it. Metal, put metal in it. And I'm like, what? Yeah, okay. She's, not it. Then she said, souvenir. She's like, so she was like wanting us to bronze the oximeter as a souvenir of her death. And those were basically last words to me. Almost.
What a woman. My God.
Yeah. After, so there's that period, and then there's for her, there was a small few hours, maybe 3, where memories were starting to come up, and she remembered things and tried to communicate them. So she said, like, airport. Someone brought me to the airport. And I'm like, oh my God, she thinks she's in an airport, right? No. Airport. And then she'd already done the oximeter thing. So I'm starting to think, okay, what's she trying to say? I said, do you think you're in an airport? She said, no, somebody brought me to an airport. So then I said, oh, you mean when you went to Hawaii with Annette? She said, yeah, that was great. That was great. So she was thinking about Hawaii. And then, and then a little while later, she said, he's waiting for me. There's someone in the car. It's a green car. She said, he's waiting for me in the car. And I'm pretty sure that my dad used to pick her up in a green car. And so that's my feeling about that, is that she was thinking of him at the end too, which is very whatever.
Very emotional for you. Yeah.
So John, do you have that Lorraine likes hats? She's a weird sense of humor, and always, everyone engaged with her. People easily engaged with her. She had the great good fortune of getting a PSW coming in couple times a week to help us bathe her and then keep up with her room, because I very quickly realized when she was getting ill that the most important thing was for us not to be at loggerheads every minute of the day. So, so if someone else could do her bath and her room, I would be in much better shape. So she had a PSW named Catalina who started with us 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and took the brunt of all that. You know, the mom's professional house cleaner, and her standards for the care of her room were really quite high. And Catalina kindly took the brunt of that. Well, okay, I'm not seeing it, hon. Yeah. John's gonna run a video now.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you have a lovely look at what's coming on the program. Well, you could do that in a minute.
Yeah. You know, when you go to share something, it shows all the different windows you have, and you have to choose which one you want to share, and it shows the memorial. But
yeah. There we go. I think we could probably, if anyone else had stories they wanted to say, maybe we can do that now instead of waiting. I was going to do it after the video, but
well, Annie, the stories you were telling reminded me of when Nick and the kids and I traveled to Portage and set up to camp there, and many people came to hang out with us, including both mom and dad. And I hadn't seen them together in 30 years. But anyways, what came to my mind was Uncle Donnie coming up to me, my dad's younger brother. Do you think they're going to get back together?
yeah.
Probably not. But, but they did stay in touch and kind of regain that friendship, I think.
Yeah, at one point she said to me, Annie, oh, I probably shouldn't say this. Oh, God. She said, Annie, I never meant to leave. And I was like, oh, boy, Mom. It was very sad.
Oh,
sad.
Very sad.
Because I had a feeling that, in fact, that was true. And I don't know what, of course, she was incapable of saying what she meant by that.
Right.
When was that, when she was dying, that she said that?
No, that was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. So, but already at that point, she didn't always have the ability to explain what she meant by things, So, for what it's worth.
Hard on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, John says he can run it now.
Robin's got her hand up.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she
wants
to say something.
I can always wait till after Dad's thing. I just, if we're doing testimonials, I had one I wanted to share.
Well, John, do you want to wait or run it now? Let's just keep rolling with the testimonials and we'll do them. Okay. He's ready to do it anytime.
I've got my nerve now, so my voice will probably waver if I wait too long. Okay, so I dug this message out of my messenger chats with Grandma, and it just includes a song that she was fond of, and I thought it might be nice for everyone afterwards to be able to go listen to it if they wanted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized my daughter's watching kid shows in the background. I don't know if you can hear, so I should move out of the way. So she wrote to me, this was a few years back. Hi, sweetie. Thanks for all the songs you sent me, especially Gracie Fields singing Wish Me Luck. My dad told me long ago that as they left New York Harbor on a troop ship, Gracie Fields had just landed into the US. She was there to do a tour to raise funds to aid England. Anyways, as Dad's troop ship was leaving, she sang "Wish Me Luck" to the troops on a loudspeaker, of course. In fact, Dad nicked the expensive number plaque from the door of his cabin and sent it to us when he got to England. He also scratched a message on the back that Mom didn't find, and he showed us after the war, and he was home again. Still have this in an album here. So I don't know if you've come across that, Mom, but I thought that was really special.
Yeah.
So "Wish Me Luck" by Gracie Fields, a song that she enjoyed and treasured. One second, honey. Sorry. And then just one kind of funny thing. So in the background, I have these bats on my living room wall, and they've been there since like three Halloweens ago. With small children, that's my excuse. And we've left them up. And one of the last visits she had here, she told me that I should put bat shit hanging from each of them. Because they've been there so long and it wasn't realistic that they wouldn't. Anyway, it's just so hilarious. She was always so funny, and just you never knew what she was going to come up with next. And that one really, I thought I was going to finally take them down, but after she said that and this has happened, I think they're going to be part of our house for quite some time. So anyways, I loved her very dearly, and she was such a wonderful grandma. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that. So "Wish Me Luck" by Gracie Fields. Enjoy.
Thanks, Pai.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Should we do the hats? Anyone else got a story erupting from them? Well, we could do the hats. Oh. So we made this, well, soon after she moved here this last time. She had a massive collection of hats, as many of you have contributed to her collection. So we did a video of her. Here was her idea of demonstrating her hats.
Oh, look at how happy she is.
And there's even more now. I'm going to bring them to Winnipeg, and we can each take one with us.
And she'd wear a different one every day, right?
Yes, right up till the very end. She had a hat on. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the one she was most recently wearing all the time she didn't have it at that point. So yeah. It was Benjamin Chichi has a painting of 3 geese. Someone transferred it onto a badge and made a hat with it. Very nice.
I think that's in the very first picture in the slides.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, very good. Oh, her St. Patrick's Day. So she remembered St. Patrick's Day all the way up till the very last, maybe 2 years. She forgot or didn't feel like putting on her St. Patrick's Day hat. But she loved St. Patrick's Day. And she loved the Winnipeg Jets. She had the scarf, the hat, the blanket on her bed.
Did she watch the games?
Sometimes she would. She did love hockey, but anyway, the women's hockey is what she usually, women's hockey and women's soccer, she would find those on YouTube and watch those. Before she got very sick, she would always find them, and she was pretty happy with the Olympics and some of the women's soccer that was on the Olympics. In the Olympics, I don't know whose kitchen that is, but There we are. Did you want to say something, Joe? I thought I saw you.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate, that I know that my older kids got to know her quite well, the younger ones, not very well. But I remember Stuart, at a certain point, Brian and I wanted to move here and move there and whatever. And we'd been living in Richmond and we were talking about, well, we don't like it here. We want to move back to Vancouver, right? And Stuart said, fine, do what you like. I'm staying with Grandma. So Brian and I quickly went, fine, we'll stay too. So that sense of her being an ally was there pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
A grumpy ally, but an ally nonetheless. And I remember Izzy and I stayed with her for a time. And one day when he was quite small, he decided to play cards. And so there was a little, she had set up a little chair and with a box behind it, and he got in and he just emulated her so perfectly, that grumpy way she'd get in the car and, look at the other drivers, right? And this little guy is just bringing it all to life. And it's like, well, not what I look like. Sort of, yeah.
It's lovely.
Anyways, I was very, very fond of her. No big surprise.
That reminds me, this is not about Mum directly, but it's about how Mum and Vic were quite alike in some ways. That little skit, Vic and I don't know if it was Casey or maybe just Vic and I can't remember, did this little skit one time about, we were just making up a story as we went along, right? And Vic had been quiet until the ridiculous story we were spinning like kind of was petering out. And I turned to him and I said, what happened then? And he said, I threw it in the sewer. Which is who knows what it was he was throwing in the sewer. But to have that weird voice come out of him, like, and she would do those really unexpected, like, whoa, where is that coming from? And who is that person kind of moments, right? Anyway. John, can you do the clip Marnie sent? Okay, he'll take a second to cue that up. Does somebody else have a thought?
I'm like Judy. Did I mute myself or am I on?
You're good. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. No, my memory is when we had the big reunion, like how she was so into being the working on the railroad. I mean, it was and Casey too. I mean, it was all just fabulous. Everybody. Yeah, it was so much fun, and
it was like a skit that you guys did, right?
Yeah. My brother wrote. I was looking for it. I've been looking all over, and I can't find it. I know we even have like a video of it, but I can't find it anywhere. I have filed it under something, and sorry, everybody, but I mean, she was easy to, and I was happy to see her on Facebook. And then happy just to have her on Messenger, where I could send her a picture of a horse or something, because how much she loved the horses, didn't she?
Yeah, she really did. It was one of the things that really touched her. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, I loved all of that. I was sad, but gosh, that woman lived a long life, when you told me about it, and I thought, oh, Lorraine, like that's how I thought. Oh, Lorraine, you sweet thing, you made it, because she did tell me she wanted to make it to 90.
Yeah, that was it.
Yay, Lorraine.
That was her goal.
Yeah.
And eventually, although at one point when I was staying with her in Winnipeg, she said she didn't want to live past 70, and then a few years later, she said she didn't want to live past 80. But But then 90 became her goal, and she was asking every day, "Am I turning 90?" And remember when you were saying, and even after, she kept saying, "Am I 90?" or something like.
Yes. Yeah,
So yeah,
Robin and Robin's family sent her a birthday card that had like a little pop-up flower garden with a pop-up 90 in it. So we just left that up so she would remember how old she was. And every day she would look up at it and go, "Am I 90?" And then she would say, "How old was my mom when she died?" Because it was like she had this competitive thing going with her mother.
That's it. Yeah.
She did she sent me we were talking mostly emojis on Facebook, and at one point she said to me, "I'm 89 and a half years old."
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, good for you, Mom.
Yes,
Just like
yes.
a little one, right? It's like they're getting on there.
Yeah, yeah. And so that energy, like even at the end, with the doctor, this very sweet, lovely doctor, had looked at all the imaging and stuff like that, and came in like said, "Well, Lorraine, you have this, that, and the other thing." She said, "It was very, very advanced cancer. We don't know what it is because you don't want to do tests, and that's okay." She said, "But I'm really sorry to tell you, I don't think you'll make it through the night." And Mom said, "I'm not sorry." Just like, "I'm not sorry. I'm good. I'm good to go."
Oh, isn't that? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then she proceeded to stay for another it was about another 12 hours after that. And as long as she could speak, she was able to complain that it took a long time to die. Like, let's move it on. So,
What a woman.
yeah.
well,
Okay.
I think the reason she was didn't want to be past 70 and then didn't want to be past 80 is that she thought it was going to be awful on the other side, that she'd be too old and she wouldn't be able to enjoy her life. But you and John made sure she could enjoy her life, and
Well, and you guys really helped a lot because, like, people who came, Mariah came, and you came, and a lot of people have come and stayed with her, and that was really important because I think, like, looking back at what she wanted to do, she really only cared about her family. She had, pictures of us kids in a little kind of grouping on the wall, and she would always, every day, she would have something to say about someone or about all of us. And at one point, I was noticing her energy was starting to go down, but she was looking more at horses online and horse pictures. And there was one horse picture where they have the wild horses, a little group of wild horses rushing out of the surf towards the viewer. I tried to find that as something for her wall, and the one that I found had 8 horses in it, and she named one horse after each of us.
Oh goodness me.
Saya, I don't know if Saya is here, but I think Saya was horse number 3 or something. It's like, oh my God. It was mostly just in order, but Saya got a color association. Do you want to try that? This is from Marnie.
Mhm.
Mm.
That's a lovely verse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's sweet.
yeah.
So Joe and Alistair are going to read Mom's favorite poems.
Yeah, I'll send Alistair first, just to stay with the order of work.
Okay. Yes. So, yes, Joanne asked me, would I read this? And when I've heard the discussions today, I understand more perhaps of the relationship here and perhaps the meaning for her, for Lorraine. So, Invictus, and it starts with out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. So that's the Invictus poem.
Thanks, Alistair.
Thanks, Alistair. These poems that Mom loved, I think they were, in her schooling, everybody had to learn things by rote. So these were two poems that she loved so much. When I lived with her, when I was about 15, 16, she'd be doing the housework. She'd put on loud marching music and she would declare, she had a great declarative voice. She would declare these poems really loud. So this one is called High. So Invictus and High Flight were her top faves. Uh, High Flight. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence, hovering there. I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind I've trod the high untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. So she left us with, she was a very heroic personality for those listening in during the housework time.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was thinking during those last hours, especially in the emergency room, where people were moaning and screaming and talking loud all around and really unable to handle their pain. It was interesting because she was very stoic and could handle. She didn't have a lot of pain. She could handle it though, but she did have with the help of the medication. And Dad too. I remember from his when he passed away, he also was very quiet in relation to his pain. Is that what you remember, Guy? It. I think he was very. I don't remember him yelling or screaming or anything like that. It was just a very different way of approaching. Um, what happens in life. You take what you get, a little bit, take what you get, and do your best with it. Anyway, so Annie preaches again. Maybe we should switch to singing. Let's do that. Casey?
Sermonize. Okay. This is an Irish song, and Bill, they were fans of the Clancy brothers, and they, when we moved away, they gave they gave me, I think, their Clancy Brothers album, and this song was on it. We sang a lot of the songs from that album. Are You Ready for a War and stuff like that. But this is The Parting Glass. For all the money that e'er I spent it in good company, and for all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for one dark wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. For all the comrades that e'er I had are sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call, good night and joy be with you all.
Thanks, Casey. So we'll stop here and stop the recording, and anyone who wants to hang on the call and chat for a while, that's fine. You're welcome to do so. If you have to leave, no offense taken.
Thank you for the inviting me to come and watch. You must all be so proud of each other, I think, as a family. You know, it just is. And I'm proud to know you all. Well, the ones I really know. And
Thanks,
the latest one, Tom and his family, it's nice to, wish I was still young enough to run all over the world and go and visit everyone. Anyway, bless you all. Bless you all.
Feel free to take yourself off mute and say goodbye, if that sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you all for inviting us.
Oh, thanks for coming, Judy.
I didn't know Lorraine until she was much older and I was much older. Being one of the younger kids in the family, never got to meet some of the older cousins. Or if we did, we avoided them. I don't know. We were off running amok, I guess. Or maybe they were off running amok. That's probably more true. Anyways, thanks for including us, you guys. Casey, your voice is beautiful. I could listen to that all day. When's your album out?
Never. Oh, thank you guys for coming. I know Mom did talk about, going out for summers and visiting with you guys, and those were really happy memories for her. So, yeah. It was great that we reconnected. Like I didn't know, I don't think I knew either of you until that famous family reunion.
Yeah, I think that's true, Casey.
And it was so amazing because uh, I didn't know any of these people. They were all the siblings or offspring of you know Mom's mom's family, right? And the sense of humor and the warmth that was there was just, well, the sense of humor was very familiar. So that was really neat. Like, much more so than my sense of humor tends not to sync with a lot of people in the world. But suddenly I was surrounded with people with the same sense of humor. And yeah, it was lovely. It was a real awakening. And it was nice to see Mom with her family that she loved so much. Yeah.
You're lucky that you have so many great memories of your family. I could tell by the pictures. You had so many pictures.
Yeah.